Imagine a future where the world doesn't need engineers or scientists, but farmers. Earth's environment is actively collapsing. Wheat has completely died out, and only corn is left to feed a starving population. This is the daily reality for Cooper, a former NASA pilot who now spends his days working the fields. He is trapped in a dusty, decaying world that resents scientific exploration because it can't put food on the table. But the universe hasn't forgotten him. During a massive dust storm, the falling particles in his daughter Murph's bedroom refuse to scatter randomly. Instead, they settle into perfect parallel columns, a binary code. What Murph thought was a ghost haunting her room is actually a physical force, gravity, manipulating the environment to leave a breadcrumb trail. And those coordinates point directly to humanity's last chance for survival. Following that gravitational map leads Cooper to a secret underground facility. Here, the remnants of NASA, led by Dr. Brand, are quietly working on two desperate escape routes for the human race. Plan A aims to solve an incredibly complex gravity equation, which would allow them to lift massive space stations off Earth. If the math fails, Plan B is a brutal backup. Abandon the current population entirely and send a payload of frozen embryos to start over on a new world. The obvious problem is that the nearest potentially habitable planets are millions of years away. But almost half a century earlier, a mysterious anomaly appeared right next to Saturn. Take a look at this diagram showing how a wormhole operates. By folding the fabric of spacetime, this geometric shortcut creates a bridge between our solar system and an entirely distant galaxy. Facing extinction, humanity has to throw out everything they know about conventional space travel. Their only option is to trust a cosmic backdoor left behind by an unknown advanced intelligence. Curious, setting the scene, taking the Endurance spacecraft through the wormhole, the crew's first target is Miller's planet. But there's a serious catch. This world orbits dangerously close to Gargantua, a supermassive black hole. This proximity brings Einstein's theory of relativity into focus. Extreme gravitational forces don't merely pull on physical objects, they warp the actual passage of time. This animation illustrates the brutal math at play. While the clock on the left shows an hour passing on Miller's planet, the clock on the right shows that same hour is equal to 7 Earth years. Down on the surface, the crew discovers the planet is covered by a mountain-sized wall of ocean water pulled by the black hole's gravity. They get hit, delaying their escape until 23 Earth years slip away in an instant. The true horror of this mission is the unsynchronized flow of relativity, which physically ages Cooper's children while he barely experiences a single afternoon. Desperate for a win, the crew reaches an icy, desolate world where another astronaut, Dr. Mann, is waiting in deep sleep. They wake him from a deep, artificial sleep, desperate for his sensors to prove this frozen wasteland is actually habitable. But the data he transmitted was entirely fabricated. Mann manipulated the environmental readings to fake a habitable world, solely so a rescue team would track his beacon and pull him out of isolation. Meanwhile, back on Earth, an adult Murph uncovers an equally devastating truth. Dr. Brand's Plan A equation was unsolvable from the start. It requires specific quantum data about gravity that can only be extracted from inside black holes. Knowing his lie is exposed, Mann recklessly attempts to hijack the Endurance spacecraft. His failure results in an explosion that kills him, cripples the ship, and leaves Cooper's crew completely out of fuel, drifting toward Gargantua. Ultimately, the most advanced technology and brilliant mathematical equations are entirely useless when basic human selfishness compromises the entire mission. With no fuel left, Cooper executes a daring gravitational slingshot around the black hole to send his crewmate Amelia to the final habitable planet. To shed enough weight to make it work, he detaches his own craft, plunging himself directly into the dark. Instead of being crushed, Cooper survives and enters the Tesseract. It is a 5-dimensional construct built to represent time as a physical, navigable space, shaped entirely out of his daughter's bedroom bookshelves. Cooper watches his daughter through the bookshelves, realizing that every strange occurrence she attributed to a ghost was actually his own hand reaching out through the 5th dimension. Armed with the missing quantum data gathered by his robot TARS, Cooper reaches through spacetime. He uses gravity to physically manipulate the second hand of a watch he left behind, transmitting the complex equation in binary code. By physically tugging on the timeline of that watch, Cooper demonstrates a breakthrough. While light and sound remain trapped, gravity can ripple across the void. It becomes the only bridge strong enough to connect two people across different dimensions. Decades later, in her own timeline, Murph decodes the watch's ticking hand. She finally solves the gravity equation, launching massive anti-gravity space stations that successfully lift the remnants of humanity off the dying Earth. Cooper is eventually rescued near Saturn and wakes up on Cooper Station. Due to extreme time dilation, he is technically 125 years old but hasn't aged today, while the daughter he left behind is now a dying elderly woman. This leaves one massive question unresolved. If humanity was trapped on Earth, who originally placed the wormhole near Saturn and built the Tesseract to save them? This diagram outlines the bootstrap paradox at the center of the story. The advanced beings weren't aliens, they were highly evolved future humans, manipulating their own timeline to ensure they survived in the first place. The entire journey is an epic closed loop. Humanity had to master the physics of the cosmos so they could eventually reach backward in time, becoming their own savior.